Andy, first of all, just tell us a little bit about what's come out of this week, having looked back at both the Tranmere game and the Rochdale game. I know you said you were going to kind of pick the bones out of them. What's come out of that you've taken from it as a management team?
In terms of reviewing the Tranmere game, there was elements of our game that we weren't happy with from a defensive point of view. I thought from a defensive organisation, pressing, being aggressive, winning 1v1 duels on Tuesday night, we were excellent. Really, really pleased with that. In terms of being in possession, we are not creating enough goal-scoring opportunities. We're well aware of that, and that's been an area of focus since yesterday and today.
It must be hard though, because you've got all the ingredients that were there earlier on in the season as well, and for one reason or another, it just sometimes doesn't click. So I suppose that's the odd thing about it. You've got a group of players there who are all capable, but for whatever reason, it isn't happening at the minute.
Yeah, I think we've had real control of the games, both in and out of possession. I think Rochdale scored with maybe the first time against the final third, I've got to be honest. But yeah, that's an area that we are happy with, and you always in this game you're looking at ways to improve, and you solve one problem and another hole appears. So, but in terms of creative in the final third, we've had control certainly in the first 2/3 of the pitch, but now it becomes more about better decision making, better forward passes, better forward runs, and taking a risk. We have to take risks in the final third because the rewards are great, and maybe we've been a little bit safe and a little bit predictable. So we have to be more positive and assertive when we get into the final third, and back ourselves to go and take on an opponent, to run past an opponent, to take a shot from the edge of the box. And if we have that mindset, the goals will start flowing again.
Is that a confidence thing then, or is it just maybe players making the wrong decision when they're confronted with it during a match situation?
I don't see a group of players who are lacking any kind of confidence, and neither should they in terms of results. We've taken 11 points from our last 7 games. We're unbeaten. Could we have had more points? Absolutely. Do we have to create more goal scoring opportunities? Absolutely. There's no hiding away from the fact. The players debriefed the game as a group Thursday morning, as did the staff, and then came together and we're all on exactly the same page. They've reviewed the game exactly as we did, so that's a good starting point for us. But now we have to put it into action. We have to give them organisation, ideas, options, and when they cross the right line, they have to then go and make the decisions at the right time.
Adam Murray been brought in this week to support you. Obviously, It's a very difficult time, I think, for everybody at the club, and there's a lot of work that's been placed on the management team. What does Adam bring, and how is he working with you at the moment?
Fantastic personality. I didn't know Adam personally. I'd had conversations with him over over the weekend. Fantastic reputation as a coach. One of the member staff does know him, and he's been in since yesterday, and he stepped into a group of people who are tight together, unified, want real success for themselves and for the football club, and it's a difficult situation for him to step in, and we've tried to make that as easy as we possibly can for him, and we've made him feel welcome. I've had conversations about what he sees as his strengths and what does he want to get out of this, and he's coming in, he wants to help, which is great from my point of view. And because I know he's a really talented coach, I know I can give him responsibility and trust straight away, and that's what he's done.
Is it good to perhaps have a fresh pair of eyes at this stage of the season as well, maybe to look at things and see things just differently?
Well, Adam's been at the last 2 games, so in terms of looking at us with a clean pair of eyes, he'd not seen us over the course of the season, so I used that time to speak to Adam on Wednesday and asked him where he thought we was. So we know much more about each individual player, etc., and the history of the season, and our views were very much aligned. So it's great. He comes in as part of the group, and say he wants to come in and help in any single way he can. Just
talk to us about the workload as well. I mean, this is a pretty unique time for you, but in terms of what goes into that preparation during this period, what is that like for you, for the rest of the staff? How big is the workload at the moment?
The workload is something that we've taken on, and we all have to do a little bit more. Absolutely, and we're missing the most important person at the football club, so we all have to take on more responsibility. We're preparing for games and reviewing games in exactly the same way we're doing, so nothing's changed in terms of our organisation and our structure. One game finishes, the analysts, the coaching staff review it, we feed that back to the players. on the next day they're in, and then we prepare for the next one, and that's the cycle we're in. That's how you learn, that's how you develop as individuals and as a team, and we've been doing that throughout the season.
Do you kind of look at this as a bit of development for you as well? And don't mean that disrespectfully, because you've been in the game a long time, but in the role that you're in at the moment, are you developing as well as a coach and as a management team?
I think if I'm not developing, I've stopped, and people are going past me, so I'm constantly striving for things, for personal development, not only in this situation. I want to be the best person, the best coach I possibly can be. Obviously I had a little taste of the manager's role with Northern Ireland, but this is a totally different scenario. So yeah, all I am trying to do is utilise my qualities to the best of my own ability, show the group some leadership, some structure, some organisation through this period of time, and I know that I've got the ultimate trust of the players, and I'm there for them whatever they need.
Let's have a look at Saturday then. It's a team that's, after the draw with you earlier on in the season, have struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you expect from a team like that, who obviously can do it on the day, but might be in a rut at the minute? How do you prepare for that?
We focus on ourselves and what we can do to win the game, and that's what we've done. And we've looked at Stevenage a little bit of detail this morning, but it's about us, and it's about us taking on the things that we need to get better at and implement it into their style and how we can affect the game. So obviously totally respectful of Stevenage. As you said, they've had a change in manager. The results of the last few games have not been what they would have wanted, but it's about us, and it's about us being positive and us taking initiative and utilising the hurt from Tuesday night and how we lost 2 points as motivation for this next game. And we've got an incredible goal as a football club to be more successful, but we've also now been given even more motivation to do well.
With the games coming as thick and fast as they are, is that motivation just as important as the plans and the tactics that you'll go through on the training ground as well?
I'm not sure you could look at our group of players with one game this season and say they're not being motivated. So they've all got individual motivations, whatever it is, whether it's wanting a medal, a promotion, success, looking after the families, more money, longer contracts, playing higher up the football pyramid, whatever it is, that they're justifying that every single day. And I say the whole football club, us as staff, couldn't be more proud of every single one of them.
Lovely, thank you.
Cheers, mate.
And did you see them making any changes or implementing from when you faced Stevenage before? Because they've got a new manager in who arguably likes to play football, if that's not too fine a point to put on it.
I thought Stevenage were quite unique at the start of the season in terms of formation, playing 4-2-2-2. Now, one of the bigger clubs are now being given press about how they try to do it, but Stevenage were trying to play that way at the start of the season and start off the season really well. For whatever reason, results changed for them. They decided to make a change, and obviously Paul's a real experienced manager, and they brought him in for a reason, because he's had success previously. So yeah, we're obviously aware of their organisation and what they try and do, but it is about us.
It is about you, and you said that, but you've got some momentum. All right, you'll be disappointed as a unit that the last two games you haven't got maximum points. You've still got momentum going into this game, haven't you?
Absolutely, we've got momentum, we've got confidence, we've got belief in what we are trying to do. Yes, there's areas we need to get better at, absolutely. And I think if we can show those improvements, the draws will start turning into wins.
The draws, mainly, I suppose, that are a difficult thing to take, but you have got in positions, haven't you, really? Is it the closing down of that final few minutes into added time that you haven't done the job, or how do you see that one, Andy?
I think there's different reasons. You look at Saturday's game and then Tuesday night's game, the results are the same, but the emotion and how you get to the point are polar opposite. I thought we were certainly more than in the game at Tranmere, and in my opinion, justified a point. I would ask anyone who was at the game on Tuesday night to say that we didn't deserve 3 points for the game, but you have to go to the last minute. You have to get the detail right for the 95, 96, whatever minutes it is. You have to do every single thing right. And we were punished. We were punished for that last detail of the game. And we have to learn from that. We have to use that hurt. We have to use the Rochdale players celebrating. If that's there's all kinds of different motivation will go into this next game for us.
So scoring that second goal when you're 1-0 up, that's an important factor, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, we will be successful as a group. The onus on those moments within the game for our strikers to finish the game off at 2-0, that the game's done and we missed the opportunity. but we're not blaming individuals, or it's about us. How do we get to collecting 3 points? And it's about the whole group, whether they're starting the game, whether they're impacting the game as game changers, or they're not even getting changed, because those people have still got a role to play. They're still going to be supportive of the teammates, and we are such a tight group. And what has happened to the gaffer has unified us even more, and it's given us even more motivation.
Thank you, Andy.
Andy, how's Tom Conlon getting on?
Tom's not at the stage that Tom would like to be at, and he's not at the stage that we wanted him to be at. So it's taken a little bit longer than we all hoped. But he's got to think and be clear in his own mind that he can't get from where he is to suddenly being 100% fit in one day. So he's got to work through the process. In anything, there's going to be sort of setbacks, and it's how he reacts to them. But again, no, he was on the gantry on Tuesday night at Rochdale, and you can hear him commentating halfway through the game and say, so we're trying to utilise him as well. And every single person, whether they are playing or not, is important. They have a role. We're utilising Tom in a different way. But yeah, he's getting closer, but he's not ready yet.
Okay, yeah. I think, was it after the Tranmere game, you said he'd said some sort of important words in the dressing room after, so he's still got a big role to play even when he's not on the pitch? Absolutely,
he's club captain. He's obviously got a major part to play, and I'm trying to utilise the senior players to keep them informed, to utilise them, for them to be a major influence on the young players who've come into the club, and just listen to them and their knowledge, because we as staff haven't got the answer to everything. They've been through different experiences in their life as people and as footballers, so it's important that I tap into that and make them feel that they are valued. And the other people that I've not even spoken about yet is the supporters. I think what has happened and the way the supporters have reacted to it has been incredible, and so supportive of the gaffer and his family. And if they can come to the game tomorrow and support the team in exactly the same way, because the team needs support, there's going to be moments in that game where they need support for a different reason, and I'm sure they're going to come tomorrow and create a really good atmosphere and sing Darryl Clark's Black and White Army.